All right, let me just mention that IMDb blurb that Terry referred to was written by a student back in the 90s, before I even knew what IMDb was. I've gone through and updated it a few times, but that was student work. Okay, I am here to talk about the blog I've been doing since February 1st on the great FX series of People vs. O.J. Simpson, which just aired its finale Tuesday night. Joining us via Skype from Los Angeles are Larry Karaszewski on the, let me check out directions right? Yeah. Larry Karaszewski on the left, Scott Alexander on the right, the creators of the series. People vs. O.J. is Alexander and Karaszewski's first foray into television. It has been widely praised just about everywhere, and I checked this morning the awards prediction site Gold Derby. They have rated it the front runner for the Emmy for Best Limited Series. So let's hope that holds up. Don't jinx it. Scott and Larry met as undergrads at USC, and they became friends and writing partners. Their first success, I hope you don't mind I mentioned this, was Problem Child in 1990. They followed it with Ed Wood, which was directed by Tim Burton and starred Johnny Depp. A biopic of the director of the, quote, worst film ever made, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Ed Wood launched the subgenre that Scott and Larry have called the great man biopic, or the biopic of someone who doesn't deserve one. And let me, here you have the poster of Ed Wood. They followed it with the People vs. Larry Flint, about the pornmeister / First Amendment Supreme Court champion. Man on the Moon, about the comedian / performance artist Andy Kaufman. And Big Eyes, about Margaret Keane, the artist who created many, many paintings of children with big eyes, and who had to watch her husband, Walter Keane, take credit for her work until she sued him to establish that she was the painter. They have also scripted adaptations of Stephen King's short story 1408 and R.L. Stine's Goosebumps. Ed Wood, in particular, is a cornerstone of my book. And I'll show you these posters. Whose Lives Are They Anyway? The biopic as contemporary film genre, which I worked on for almost 20 years. Ed Wood came out in '94 while I was teaching my first IUPUI course on the biopic, and it made me realize that the biopic was entering a new parodic stage. It is chapter 7 of my book, and when the book came out in 2010, I asked Rutgers Press to send a copy to Scott and Larry. I never expected to hear from them, but I hoped they would like to see what I'd written about them and their genre. I received a Facebook message from Larry, and we've been in touch on Facebook Messenger since. He told me 2 years ago, quote, currently working on an exciting project, a 10-hour miniseries based on the O.J. Simpson trial, an Altman-esque look at race, media, and the city of L.A. That certainly all came to fruition, and we're now privileged and honored to have with us Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski. We'll have an interview now, and then we'll leave some time for questions. If you have a question, I'm going to ask you to come up, be brave, stand where I'm standing now in front of the webcam, and ask your question. So, hello, Scott and Larry. Thank you so much for joining us. This is really wonderful. And let me just start by...
I just want to say really quickly that our week is not finished in Los Angeles while the film is going on until you wrote your blog. We would just every day refresh the page and say, we call you the professor, but it hasn't professor posted yet. You were really good at first, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it flipped to Saturday, and we get really impressed. The professor doesn't love the thing. And really appreciate we really appreciate your words in your book, and really appreciate the blog about. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, that just means so much to me, and I don't know if any of you know how many blogs and recaps there are out there on this series. So to have the creators waiting with bated breath. To be honest, it was Oscar weekend that I sort of took off, and that got me behind for the rest of the series. And so if I ever do a blog again, that don't take off Oscar weekend is the lesson. But yeah, the first time that I didn't get it up until Saturday, Larry puts on Facebook, "I've been waiting!" Exclamation point, exclamation point. So I thought, oh my God. So Larry has basically been my interlocutor and the person I write this to. And that's been just fabulous. Okay, let me start. Your adaptation of Jeffrey Toobin's book, which was published about a year after the verdict, strips out his judgments of people. He states up front that O.J. was guilty, that the prosecution was arrogant, didn't realize what they were up against until it was too late, that Chris Darden was an inept trial lawyer, that the defense was cynical for the most part, and they thought O.J. was guilty, and they made the determination early to play the race card, and that the judge, Lance Ito, let his courtroom get out of hand. How did you decide that you were going to take a far more open-minded view of the characters?
You know, I don't think we actually made a decision. I think what happened was, as we began reading everyone's books and trying to lay it out that they kind of have a drama, we started to really like everybody. And we started to feel empathy for Chris and Johnny and Marcia and Lance Ito and the whole gang. And, I mean, it's one thing to sort of cast a journalistic judgment on what happened, and I vowed with Jeff Toobin's book, it's a great book. But Jeff is not trying to tell a story about characters that you're going to watch every week. And, you know, once we really got into the interior life of our key players and all the struggles they were having, it just became natural that we started feeling for them. And I think it's sort of it showed that by the end, you kind of feel bad for everybody.
Yeah. I also will say that you mentioned right off the bat that Jeff wrote this book, 1 year after the trial. He wrote it close to 20 years ago. And we've had the benefit of those 20 years. And there sort of would be no reason to re-examine this trial unless you were indeed re-examining it. The big sort of like story sentiments and just paint the picture of Marcia Clark and Chris Darden and Johnny Cochran that sort of became popular at that time. That really wouldn't interest us. And Scott is correct. We want to really liking these people and being able to see that contradictory opinions can coexist. That that these are very complex people who were sort of viewed at one way back in 94, 95, and we wanted to sort of turn them back into real human beings and show them with all the almost every character has some horrible thing that's happening to them, and we really view this as a bit of a tragedy. So everyone comes up worse for wear.
So you became known, of course, with Ed Wood, People vs. Larry Flint, and Man on the Moon, for what you called the anti-great man biopic, or the biopic of people who don't deserve one. You've said, and I'm quoting you, I'm quoting Scott, "What's great with these anti-great man biopics is they're full of conflict. You want as much conflict with your lead character as possible." End quote. Here you're balancing the stories of maybe 5 or 6 lead characters. What did you see as the major conflicts in the case?
It's different for everybody. Maybe it's all kind of self-evident now if you guys have seen the show. For Marcia and for Chris, they were both being judged by quick brushstrokes, and Marcia desperately wanted to win the case because she felt so badly for Nicole, and she
felt sort of living that O.J. was guilty, and she wanted justice. But then Marcia and Chris were living in this world of the civil servant, the working in the DA's office. They're not as well funded as their opponents. They're not used to being on television like their opponents, and they started being judged in ways that I expected. So, you know, I mean, yeah, Marcia conflict is with herself because she can be self-destructive, but she can also, you know, being judged in very harsh ways as a woman, which really has nothing to do with the case she was trying. And Curtis is being judged as a black man and as a Tom sellout. And again, he's at war with himself because he didn't even want to be there initially. He wanted to put the DA's office, and so he sort of got promoted upwards very quickly to being co-chair. And I mean, 20 years ago, he was just a sort of bumbling guy that only the student who would have meltdowns in the boardroom. And once we really looked at Chris, we just sort of felt so bad for him. He sort of, Marcia seemed to be the only ally in the world. In that he's being judged by the black community, he's being torn apart by John Cannot. He that doesn't don't get on the case. And so he's sort of in this no-win situation. I don't know, look at it. I mean, it's different, just kind of get sort of bigger thing on your question in that, you know, a great man, Iowa thing. Fits into it in a same kind of way where all the previous people would get sort of much more secure. They were sort of they weren't both based on it. I mean, sort of, you know, you were research and all that, like journalists and making a case for them, why they should be remembered, why they should be important, why what was going on as the worst record of all time, why he should be, you know, reconsidered. And in this case, it's one of the famous cases of all time. All these people were insanely famous. But, and there were thousands of books and newspapers and media about them, but they also had, there was a hatred towards all these people. The way you talk about that, people really had negative feelings about almost every one of these characters, whether it's on the defense, on the prosecution, and people who rated both sides. You know, that's all I mean. There's no one really came out looking good. And I think we wanted to bring that, showing that, you know, that actually everyone had good finishes. Everyone was finding something they believed in. And, you know, we're going to take it happening to these big caricatures, marketing, you know, fish, or that being a flashy suit, or, you know, and then you show people what was going on behind them, even if they're dignity back. And so it was a different kind of film for us, but we still sort of use that same approach where we were sort of championing these people. I mean, there's so many, like, many characters that sort of doing that for. But I would say the characters, the ones that were fighting them, they don't speak to them, are the main characters. And then what we look to figure out early on, what the big we get a classic, is that why they're going to love and what's being confident about their team is they're very passionate about what they're creating.
Yeah.
They really love what they're doing. And that's why they're fighting their you know, Quixote battle against the windows against society, because they feel so strongly. That's how we like telling their stories. And I mean, if you have writing students in your class, you know, when we told the pitch of Fox 3 years ago, they said, well, you got a lot of people here, who are the main characters? We said, it's Marcia, John, and Chris, because they're the three characters who care.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the demarcation, because if you took away from that, well, Bob Shapiro was very lady. They don't already see it, but it's a good job. It's a gig. But the level of care for the most of my present still happening, right? And what's our mission statement when we put in the box initially, and that could help with the whole series of a character that's not up on us, who isn't quite one of the leads, but it was Robert Kardashian, because we had, the veins and the Church Street, that actually wasn't famous at the time, and we get very little coverage into the book, but he sort of he rose up through our research and our writers group, and he thought that category too, where he was the guy who was doing this in a sincere way. He was another person who cared. He promised his best friend, that he didn't to the end. He was this and he used this out. And over the course of the series, he began to doubt. And he was not money. He wasn't there for he was not that name. He was in the he believed his friend. And he cared about it now. Maybe that didn't work out, and one of the growing tension of the series is going to have this lot of pay.
So, I've really been impressed by the way Kardashian becomes, in a way, the way we know that O.J. might have done it. We see through Kardashian's point of view as he changes and says at the end of, I think it's episode 8, says to Kris Jenner, I can hardly stand to look at him anymore. And then his gesture, which I won't give away, in the final episode in which he makes clear he's done with O.J. I think you needed a character like that. And it seemed to me like your discovery over the 3 years I know you took doing this of some of these characters, it just worked out so well. Let me ask you, and you'll know I know the answer to this, but can you tell us how you did your research? Did you talk to anybody in the case? I mean, everybody except for Johnny Cochran and Kardashian are still around. Did you talk to people, or was it all the books they wrote and all the court transcripts and Tubin's book?
Yeah, we spoke to nobody. We wanted to sort of maintain a different objectivity. We found projects where there was no documentation. We had methods especially where we had to go blind to put the story together and make sense of it. And once we had people because of the black them, and it becomes hard to throw a punch or to make a material swipe.
Yeah.
If you had 5 with that person. It really wasn't necessary. I mean, we did a Amazon search one day. I think there were 160 or 170 books on the OJ. And we have maybe 40 or 50 in our office. I mean, it's just absurd. Tubin with our gold standard, and Jeff's a great journalist. He's great at finding eccentric detail between love, detail that's sort of about a story and character and theme. And the weird thing, I'm happy with Eric, that Jeff also had a great index. I just cannot overstress how useful that index was. Yeah. And sometimes we would go to like, oh yeah, what I think that Johnny said, and then you start to look through a Johnny book or a Marcia book, and it's like there's no index, and then it's lost. You can never find it again. So
because even if you highlight the book, it's just a book full of highlights. There were books that almost every page was totally highlighted, so it became pointless to even highlight it.
And on our other biopics, we've done. We can spend 6 months on research and do all the highlighting and find all the old magazine articles. And Larry and I love to go through microfiche and pull up all the old newspaper stories and highlight it. And then we'll do an interim step where we will either we do it ourselves or we might hire an assistant for a few weeks and retype a lot of the interesting ideas and try to categorize them. So then
you know, if it were Man on the Moon, you have a Bob Samuda chapter. You have Andy's parents.
Right.
You have a taxi chapter. And like, okay, once you go in that can of worms, and, you know, retyping and organizing this material, and look at the God for years. So, what the direction of it became really reliant on our writer's assistant, Tim Britton, who sort of became the brain man of the project. Yeah. I remember that's what we said. In the 80s. So it's that it became impossible to half remember something really crazy. It's like, oh, you remember that thing with the Martian in the elevator? Where did we read that? Somewhere. And then we also commissioned a researcher to sort of pull up some bad stuff again and just sort of say, the black meeting and white meeting, show us how they come to trial differently. Yeah. And then, you know, a month later, a 5 showed up. And you can sort of see the different points of view. And so we were just sort of trying to pull it as much as we could. And to the point where it was overwhelming.
But I do think that's one of the reasons why the show is as rich as it is, in that we just have so much information and it really helped us making all the characters breathe and be real. We you know, people ask us, well, how do you know they were thinking about that or when they said that? Because we did all the research, you know, if we didn't have the exact words, we knew what they said 6 months earlier or 6 months later, and we also knew exactly what was going through their heads during the time. So it actually made writing these characters real, and they made the supporting characters, people like Dominic Dunn or Faye Resnick or anybody. It made them come so much more alive because we had a grasp on this material.
Yeah, Dominic Dunn's book was really interesting and confusing piece of source material. Dominic was played by Robert Morris in the show, and he was sort of the showbiz beat reporter. He was working for Vanity Fair, and he wrote what he called Letters from Los Angeles every month in the magazine, which was reporting on it. But then when he put his articles together as a book, he did something really strange, which he turned himself into a fictitious character, but he kept everyone else real.
Other than now, I work in fiction as a non-fiction.
And it was full of good stories, but then it would sort of force us into this predicament, which is, well, when Dominic died, we can't ask him, can you pick this up?
Yeah.
All right, so that weird event that night, Chateau Marmont, did it really happen because he's including 2 real people from the trial and then a fictitious person telling you the story? So, we would try to kind of double source anything that was come from Dominic. If anybody wants to be a completist, Dominic Dunn's book on tape is so entertaining because he does it himself.
After Tubin, I think Dominic's book is my favorite, only because he isn't quite doing what we're doing, but he's recontextualizing the case. In the sense, he's making the trial of O.J. Simpson about the dinner parties of Los Angeles during the trials of O.J. Simpson and stuff like that. It's reinterpreting it. Not there's true crime, but there's also just that sense of what America was going through, that people couldn't stop talking about it around dinner tables, and so that's why we actually included that scene where Dominic is talking to the kind of the Betsy Bloomingdales of Los Angeles and filling them in on what happened in the trial today. Because Dominic basically had dinner every night with these fabulous people and well-known stars and celebrities, whether it was Elizabeth Taylor one night or Larry King the next night. And so he gave us this entree into this world in a way of us adding that into the story.
What's interesting is our press liaison here at IU, Diane Brown, was a protege of Dominic Dunn's back during the O.J. trial, and she said she went and sat in one day on the trial, and she said she had trouble staying awake, but she also remarked about how handsome O.J. looked. That was one of the things she remembered. Could you talk about your process in doing the show? I know you didn't write it all yourself. but you structured it all, and you had what you called a Bible. Can you talk about your process?
Sure.
Sure. I mean, we kind of backed into the process that we've never done this before. We've never done TV, and our producing partners, Brad Simpson and Nina Jacobson, had never done TV either. So we were making it up as we went along. And Fox, the project started at Fox before it moved to FX, and Fox was really gracious in terms of no deadlines and not telling us what to do. So our process was to spend probably a couple months meeting with Brad and Nina and talking about the theme. And I mean, the word salon shows up a lot in this project. I mean, Jeff Tubin uses the word a lot of time at the Larry King salons. And he always refers to the salons in Larry King's green room, because there had to be 3 OJ peripheral people talking about issues. And we were kind of doing this with Brad and Nina, just having an afternoon saying, let's talk about the black dress. Yeah. Let's talk about what Marcia was going through, which sort of led us to the discovery of the double standard with the gender politics in Marcia, which was nothing that was ever discussed 20 years ago. Let's talk about Johnny's history with civil rights violations against blacks in Los Angeles. And we would just have these 3 or 4 hour long discussions, and anything interesting we would scribble down. And it gave us a lot of jumping off points. Larry and I then spent a couple more months, and we wrote, we wrote what was really probably a 20 or 25 page outline. So this is funny. The executive we were being told to deliver to the studio doesn't like to be anything longer than 10 pages. And so we actually had to cheat the font and cheat the margins and single space it. One person, right? So to get it down, get it squeezed. But that was about 20 pages long. Once we had that, we then went and wrote a pilot, which really is just episode 1. And I mean, working with Brad and Larry and I were trying to figure it out. We had this idea that we were making a 10-hour movie, and we were thinking of it in terms of the first act, second act, third act. And then someone at the network said to us, guys, it might be Gina Bailey, our FX exec. She said, no, you're making 10 one-hour movies. And then that sort of gave us an image of what if each night has its own theme. And again, this is nothing anyone was telling us to do. And I don't know the process of Louis C.K. when he writes Louis, or people writing it sort of deep. I don't know if people do this thought process, which was to say, all right, every night's going to have a kid in it and a big idea. And so that sort of helped us shape the story. And we had to go through the movie in chronological order. Larry and I like talking about our time frames. The only time we broke that rule was for the Trigger episode was backed up. And sometimes it might cover one night, some might cover a week, some might cover 2 or 3 months. But as long as we were moving forward, it was fine. And then we wrote the pilot, episode 1, and when episode 2, we put together a writer's room,
Yeah, they're making the studio really reacted strongly to our pilot script, and encouraged us to get a writer's room. And let's see kind of we've never really done that before. And we had 4 writers that were hopefully executives, well nursing time for us, and working with Brad Simpson and the executives and our departments. And we took 6 weeks, and once again, I think it was much different than regular TV writer. Going back to that, the Skype salon, it would come in and I think more like what you do. You're simply do some of the side terminators. We could have come around the call, we wanted to have about the viewers, about how they, no one saw them on TV, so there's no one to forgotten people. There are also people get blamed, like all those stupid viewers. And part of our plot always was, they help people understand it, right? Like, what do you think, okay, the kids are innocent,
there's so much economic interest, why do these people vote to acquit? So we really want to understand that. I thought it could be a whole episode just based with jurors, and that means that there's 2,400 characters relating to the series. In fact, they were really not how big of a position that would be. We gave Joe that assignment. Go read all the jurors' books. Come back with tidbits. Come back with things that will figure out how to work those tidbits into the plot and into themes and so that kind of thing. We would say, we want to do one in our Bible. We have episode 6 Marshall. You all can about history and how Marshall is treated so differently. And so we invite people to don't read Marshall's book and don't read everyone else, but just come back with 7 or 8 facts or with illustrated facts. And so, we have all this information, and once we have all that information, we started to expand our Bible and start to really shape it to Acts and those things like that. So at that point, Scott and I went for the second episode and super excited. So we had 2 episodes, and that one on an 80 or 90-page Bible.
For episodes 3 through 10.
Yeah, we spent a lot just about everything, and we just started signing future episodes. And we work with a folks with the writer. We do writing, we do management, and we're not going to go back to us. And so we're back and forth there. So one thing that's really important to us was to get everyone on the same page in terms of tone. It's kind of a very specific tone in terms of it's comedy and drama and sadness and satire and tragedy and it's all the big jump of that. And a lot of screenwriters in general don't do. And you have to kind of try to paint it in that I write comedies or I write dramas or I write comedies, and we like to mix it up. And this group of people were really good. And we also try to use writers and try to get voices that maybe were soft on. Like Scott and I don't know much about procedurals. And we found Robert Cole has a respect about the other TV. And that's what it was. We thought that we created those African Americans. We thought we could have, we could warn us when, we were being video and my performance and so there's a good mix of people. And then BB is also what came from the role of assistant. When he had a here now, and BB was a teacher around like us, and he was really not about writing mechanisms and all that, where, we didn't depend on him, sort of really, he was also a good teacher. So that was a good combination of a crew. And I think we were somewhere around some 5 or some 6 right now. And this is all boring. It involved us being the head of Fox got switched, and the project was in a temporary limbo. I think they still intended to make it. But Ryan Murphy, who was a very, very important producer on the Fox lot, just asked his agent, which was also our agent, say, what's the really great scripts out there? What's the great unproduced thing out there right this second? He read our first 2 scripts and was just like, I'm in. Let me try to do something to get these, So he jumped on board, and that's the point where we switched over to FX and became part of the Ryan Murphy empire.
Yeah, and Ryan Murphy, by the way, folks, is from Indianapolis.
Is he? You had 2 Indianapolis then.
Oh, yeah, he went to IU Bloomington, he went to Warren Central High School. Okay, I'm told I have 5 minutes, and I'm sorry about that.
We can do the longest answers for planet. You're allowed to have 3.
One thing that I've been wondering all through the series is, you told me a couple of years ago, Larry, that the show wouldn't be about O.J. It would be more about Shapiro and Cochran and Clark and those people. And the thing about O.J., the O.J. character is, we can't know what's going on in him. We see his actions But we don't know if we're watching the actions of somebody who did it or an innocent, wrongly accused person, as he claimed. What was it? Was it difficult to write a central character who has to remain essentially enigmatic? Or was it difficult for Cuba Gooding to play a character when it's not clear what the character's motivations are?
I think it's been harder for Cuba than it was for us. Speaking for myself, yeah, I think it sure looks like OJ did it. There's a lot of evidence against him. But as dramatists, we were never going to have him state this to anybody.
Sure.
And I think the job of a defendant is to say, I didn't do it.
End of series.
And there were lots of good stories about OJ. At times, the defense pretending that OJ was part of the team, pretending like they were taking advice from him to make him look better. But at other times, OJ just loses his temper, and OJ yelled at them, and then threatening them, and then that crazy game where Shapiro tries to get OJ to kind of deal with manslaughter, and OJ flips out on him. And so we sort of just tried to figure out how many moments we could do with OJ, and then plot the relationship between him and Kardashian. But like I say, none of this would require OJ declaring a major. So he did it or he didn't do it, because he's always going to say, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But again, so the challenge, I think, got kicked back to Cuba, which was to play it neutral.
Also, I think that, at two things of that. One is we were more neutral about his guilt than Jeffrey Tubin's book, but I do think that we said over and over and over again how much evidence was against him. And I do think that when you finally get to episode 10 does not have power if OJ was innocent. You know what I mean? And innocent man looking up at a statue. I'm not sure, and that that doesn't. So I'd say that at a certain point the everything that happens after the verdict, coming from a place of that perhaps a guilty man got away with it. The other factor I would say that we really used OJ for is, we had all these big ideas and big themes, being being like race and gender, but one of the big ones was media and celebrity. The sort of, celebrity industrial complex. That's really where we used OJ. OJ was a star, and he is, he's like Benny Davis in the old 1930s or 40s. He's got this whole complex, and they're going to pop him up and say yes to him at all times. And he's why you watch. You said yourself that your friend who works with Dominic, much was important, and all points, I got to be a star over there.
Right.
He was okay, and so you needed somebody, that's the Academy Award winner, Cuba Gooding. You need somebody to sort of have that star power, and that's sort of how he plays in the show, as this pampered, spoiled celebrity who doesn't understand why it's all being taken away from him.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we've actually learned things about the show from reading people's analysis the next day. And Greg and I tried to tell the facts as they happened, and then put a dramatic spin on it. And I don't know if we realized sort of the contextual meaning of some of the events. We just thought they were interesting. So the fact that OJ threw a party for himself the night he got out, and then received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Star Magazine and from Stern in Germany, and he had his buddy Gary Schiller in the garage. I'll take the photos in a portable photo lab, and had a satellite dish to uplink the photos that night to Germany. I think it's insane. And then he sort of gave a big speech, and sort of now looking at the show and sort of reading what people are sort of saying about it, which is, this really isn't the action of an innocent man.
Right.
An innocent man's priority would be, you leave jail, and you go and get your kids. And if your kids are in Orange County at the Brown Test, well, then that's where you go. You pick up your kids. And your kids haven't seen you for a year, and their mother is dead, and is not coming back, and that's where your head would be at, which is, let me take care of Sydney and Justin.
Yeah.
And instead, he threw himself a big rager, and he was selling photos, and he's taking celeb pictures with strangers, and it's really weird behavior once you think about it.
Right. I mean, we had this thing, and it came from Tuba's book, was Tuba has a chapter called Being OJ, and he said basically that OJ's job was, at that point in his life, being OJ. His job was just to play golf with and get paid to do endorsements and things like that. He wasn't really a movie star or a football player anymore. And we wanted to make sure that OJ thought that being not guilty, he could just go back to being OJ. He could just go, they would be accepted back into the inner circle of celebrityhood. And what we needed to make clear in those last 5 or 6 minutes was, yeah, you're out of jail, but you're in a different kind of prison right now.
Well, I'm so sorry, guys, but we are out of time. And we don't have time for questions. Everybody's got to scurry off to class. But I really want to thank you for taking this time to talk to us. It's been wonderful. And now I will go home and write my post on episode 10. All right. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks to Dennis for having this interview and this really great opportunity to talk.